What you are about to witness is perhaps the first sighting of a very curious creature. To be perfectly honest, this probably isn't the very first time this type of creature has been filmed, but it'll all make sense in a minute or two. This is a love letter. If you get very still, you can just about spot... Oh, well, yeah. Here he comes. This, my friend, is a Billy. This Billy's name is Daniel. Not quite getting it yet? Okay, let's hear from another Billy named Michael, and perhaps he can clear this up. It's worth a try.
Who are the Billies? The Billies is a heart-centered community woven together by shared values and by our shared experience as gay, bi, and queer men. We strive to be present and mindful with ourselves and each other as we gather 4 times a year in extraordinary rural venues in Northern California, and now in collaboratively created, rich online venues. Each gathering is a work of art, carefully crafted by Billies to take us to places of joy and playfulness, intimacy and openness, creativity and self-expression. We embrace everyone with deep welcome and radical acceptance.
There's something about being out in nature that makes it easier to think my thoughts and express myself. I'm at a retreat with a bunch of wonderful, amazing gay and bi men sharing a retreat center together. I come to these partly because it meets my needs for connection. I'll spin around here so you can see the kind of vegetation in this area. This area is prone to fires. This place was hit hard by fires in the past couple years. So it's good to be mindful of potential dangers and potential threats without being overwhelmed by them. And that's part of being resilient, and resilience is the theme of this gathering. It's a good theme. I think about the times when I've bounced back from hardship. I think about the times when I felt almost unable to bounce back or been really kind of put down by hardship. But in this current time, I am feeling more resilient than not. And do not fall into the canyon is another way to stay resilient. I'll show you this interesting tree. So this tree has very dark red. It almost looks a little bit burnt, but I don't know. It's very dark reddish bark. It's quite beautiful.
What Daniel didn't know during this filming is that this is a Manzanita tree. Manzanitas can live in places with poor soil and little water. They are characterized by smooth orange or red bark and stiff, twisting branches.
I'm going through some dense brush here. Hopefully there's nothing poisonous or itchy through here. We were singing songs on the porch with a couple of guitar players, and that Simon and Garfunkel song Feelin' Groovy came up and had that line, "Life, I love you." And that really stuck, like, oh, life, I love you. Feelin' groovy. That's a Feelin' Groovy hillside. You can hear all the snapping crickety bugs talking to each other. It almost sounds like electrical zaps, but it's bugs. And I don't know if this will come through on the video, but it's also, there's some over here and there's some over there, so there's a very stereo zip 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 buzz buzz. And as they say in the courtroom, I'll allow it. That's okay. You can be that kind of a, you can be a bug like that if that's how you want to be a bug. Who am I to say otherwise? It's very dense through here. You have to be very, very careful. I did have this experience of meeting someone and then like older fears coming up of, oh, will this person find me interesting? Will they like me? Are they too smart or too good looking or out of my league? And should I retreat into myself? And as I'm learning to be more open and accept myself and love myself and allow myself to be myself, there's a lot of myselfs in there, then I can see the ways that I sabotage my interactions. So I did have some of those negative reflections, those shadow aspects come up. But also I spoke about them and got his reflections of me that were not the shadow reflections from inside. And it was very heartwarming and instructive and opening for both of us to have the experience of common, similar shadow ideas present themselves and then say, no, maybe I don't want that to dictate how I live and what I choose to say and who I choose to have a conversation with. Is there another possibility? And just through some willingness to open up to each other, the shift on the other side of that awkwardness felt almost miraculous. You mean I get to accept myself and allow, and when I take a risk and open up about that and share, the reflection I get back puts me in a very different space of standing in a place where I can be worthy of love. That makes me feel kind of emotional, and that's awe-inspiring. And I think because he very easily could have just shined it on and said, this guy's too good looking or smart or out of my league to be talking to. So I'll just kind of shut down inside. I'm so curious about that thin razor's edge of an idea of what would happen if I say, no, I'm going to address that. I'm going to take that risk. And then moments later to be standing and witnessing being worthy of love. It's just, in a way, kind of mind-blowing. So I don't know if you've had that same experience where you kind of went with what was in your mind instead of challenging that. Does that have to be true? That when we say someone's out of our league, what does that really mean? What league do we think that we're in? What league do we think they're in? I am rather amazed and enamored of this red-skinned tree.
It's a manzanita.
When I first looked at it, I thought that it was burned.
Yep, a manzanita tree.
I don't know, maybe it was burned, but it seems to be
A manzanita tree.
There are green leaves up top here. Let's see. If I go way up, you can see these leaves. But this bark is definitely very red.
Manzanita.
Why do you have red bark, Mr. Tree? Let's talk to the tree and find out what it thinks. Do you have something to say to us, Mr. Redbark Tree?
It's a manzanita.
And as a tree, do you ever feel that you're not worthy of the sunlight? Do the other plants ever compare themselves to you? Let's see if we go here. You can see where parts of the tree were burned. I don't know, maybe someone who knows trees.
It's a manzanita.
More parts that look like they had been burned. I don't know, I have curiosity about the red bark tree. You can see that burned area. Sometimes I get curious about red bark trees. Goodbye, red bark tree.
Maybe we should hear from Michael again.
What are our values? Heart Circle is our central ritual, and consensus is our process. They embody our values. Ongoing Heart Circles keep us connected and in community in online events, even through the pandemic. We encourage ourselves to be present and mindful by advocating an environment free of drugs and alcohol at our gatherings. We envision the creation of a world based on principles of nonviolence, sustainability, cooperation, service, and the building of deeper wisdom through shared perspective.